Seth woke well before dawn, unable to sleep despite the exhaustion dragging at his limbs. Huddled between Reed and Ronnie, he tried to preserve the meager body heat coursing through his veins. It was a losing battle, the morning chill leaching into his bones. Shivering, he sat upright and rubbed his arms and legs with brisk movements. The rest of the group awoke one by one, each more miserable than the last. Ronnie coughed, a phlegmy sound that worried Seth. If his friend didn't receive treatment soon, it would likely devolve into pneumonia, a death sentence. "Here, have some water," Seth said, offering him the jug. "Thanks," Ronnie said, but he only took one sip before handing it over to the others. They never got enough of anything, including water, and had to ration every drop. Seth took the last sip, grateful for the moisture it provided. Afterward, he relieved himself in the stinking bucket in the corner before turning his gaze to the tiny window. The first rays of sunlight hit the rectangular opening, and the interior flooded with gold. Dust motes glittered in the light, floating around them like tiny fireflies. It was the only time of day the cell was bearable, a brief moment in time when he could pretend he was somewhere else. Keys rattled in the metal door, and the edge scraped across the uneven concrete floor as it swung open. "Eat up and be quick about it," a voice said, and a wooden tray filled with crusts of hard bread and scraps of meat slid through the opening. Seth hunkered down next to the food and carefully divided it into equal portions. The rest joined him, and they chewed on the skimpy rations one bite at a time. As hungry as they were, they'd learned to savor their food. It was all they'd get until noon. The guard at the door handed them a fresh jug of water and stood waiting while they finished their meal. Afterward, he waved to the other guard, and the prisoners filed out of the cell in a single row. They kept their heads down and their pace measured, anything not to arouse the ire of the guards. Short-tempered and mean, they doled out punishment for the most minor infractions. The last prisoner out of the cell carried the toilet bucket. Once outside, he'd empty it into a pit and wash it with dirty water from the mop buckets. He'd also throw a layer of sand into the bottom to help with the smell. It was a job they took turns at, as with everything else in their lives. Or the hollow shells their lives had become. Still, today was different. Today was the day they escaped. It was decided. Come hell or high water, the day would end with their freedom or deaths.